In this video, I'm going to show you how to lock specific slides in the menu bar without using Storyline's default options that lock all the slides. These slides can then be unlocked when certain conditions are met, such as users completing previous activities or completing quizzes. This way, users can explore the course freely and only have access to the locked slides when you want them to. So we're going to discuss two options for doing this. We're going to use Storyline's built-in locking mechanism or adding custom icons to indicate locked slides. Both of these options follow similar steps. First, we have to set up a trigger to run JavaScript code to lock the slides. We'll need to create a Storyline variable to ensure the JavaScript code runs only once when the user launches the course. Next, we'll set up some more JavaScript code to unlock the slides. The conditions to unlock the slides will be up to you, but I'll go over some basic steps. All right, let's get started with a new project. I'm going to create 5 slides. I'm going to duplicate the existing slide here 5 times. I will rename them to something simple for this tutorial. Slide 1, slide 2, and slide 3. And the ones we're going to lock, I'm going to name them Practice 1 and Practice 2. Okay. So to make things easier, to make things so that we can track it easier while we go through this tutorial, I'm going to add text to the courses, basically just the title of the slides. That way we know what slide we're on when we move around. All right, copy this one, copy this, rename it 3. All right. And this one, Practice 1 and Practice 2. All right. So now that we have this kind of set up the way we want to, we're going to lock Practice 1 and Practice 2. The thing we need to do now is we need to create a variable that tracks when the menus are locked, which should be automatically on the first slide that is launched. So we're going to create a variable called lock applied, and we will create it's going to be a treat false variable, and we're going to leave the default value to false. All right. Now, it really doesn't matter what you name it, but it's important to remember what you named it and how you named it. So if it's uppercase L and uppercase A, you want to make sure that it's that you remember that, because when using variables across JavaScript and other basically anything that requires programming languages, it is case sensitive. So just make sure you type it exactly the way you typed it into the variables here. Now, the next part is we are going to create a trigger that will execute the JavaScript when the timeline starts on this slide. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code for the JavaScript to edit it and make any modifications. You can use whatever editor you want. You can even use the built-in JavaScript window in Storyline. But for me, this is the easiest method because it color codes the different properties and it makes it easy to debug and fix later on. So the first part of this is like VAR player, basic standard kind of stuff to reach out to the course player and be able to kind of identify it and lock onto it to pull information or push information. Then line 2 is creates a new variable for this function. It's lock applied, basically the same name as the one in Storyline. Actually, what this is doing is reaching out to the course, grabbing the properties of the lock applied variable we created in Storyline and applying it to the one we're creating here. We can name this, JavaScript lock applied or whatever. But this right here, this lock applied within the quotes has to be the same name as it is in the Storyline course, or else this won't work. So you have to make sure it's named exactly the same way, capitals and everything, And also you need to change the one in the bottom here. And I'll explain the bottom one later at the end of this demonstration, I guess, here. And on line 4, the slide titles to lock, this is where we're going to identify the slides we want to lock. So we want to lock practice 1 and practice 2. Now, it's important that between each item you want to lock, you have a comma and you have quotes between the next item, and it makes sure the spacing is correct, or the space is correct. And let me see, there we go. So it'll be, if you wanted 3 items, it'll be practice 1, comma, practice 2, comma, item 3, and so on and so on. But we only want 2 items, so let's just leave it at 2. Now this next part, we'll go and check if the lock applied variable that we created is false, which if it's the first time running it, the lock apply variable will equal to false. If it's false, it will run the function called locked menu items and pass the titles of the slides we want to lock to that function. So this is the function that will run if it's false, which is the main kind of workhorse of this JavaScript code. On line 14 and 15, I want you to kind of pay attention to those a little bit. These will print out a kind of some text when the course is running to kind of help debug the course if something goes wrong. I'll point these out later when it's actually running to show you how it works. Now this part right here will run every time for every item that's in the slide title to lock. So if you have 2 items, it will run twice. If you have 5 items, it will run 5 times, 10 items, 10 times, and so on and so on. So for each item, it will run this code that disables the slide item and makes it kind of transparent. So that's kind of what makes everything work here. Now, after it's done with each item, it will set the lock applied variable in the course that we created to true. So that way, if the user goes onto the slide again, it doesn't run again, and it doesn't lock the slides again after we've unlocked them. So once we made the changes, we want to go and copy everything and go back to Storyline and paste it. And let's push OK, and let's do a quick test. But before we do a quick test, I always like to do this when I'm playing with variables in Storyline, is I like to insert a reference to the variable. That way I can see what the status is, or what the value is, and make sure it's working correctly. Another way to insert text real quickly is Control-T, and then I'm going to add a reference to that variable. All right, so there it is. It's false. And let's do a quick test to make sure that it's working correctly. All right, and it looks like it is. Practice 1 is locked, practice 2 is locked, and I can still navigate to the other slides. Now, remember that console.log line that I pointed out earlier? This is what it outputs right here. It's going to run the function, or it's going to output some text saying that it's running the function and what the arrays are. Right now it's practice 1 and practice 2. That little number indicates how many items were in that array variable. So I only have 2, it shows 2, and it shows me what the items were. And it also tells me that it found the menu item for practice 1 and it found the menu item for practice 2. If it doesn't find it, let's modify it real quick to show you what it says when it doesn't find it. So if you've got something like this, or you renamed something incorrectly, it'll tell you where the error is. All right, so same thing as before. Found menu item for practice 1, found menu item for practice 2, and it says menu item not found for practice 3. So you can go back and debug it, make sure you spelled it correctly, or check to see what went wrong. And if you don't see any of this right here, that means that the syntax, like you're missing a comma or a colon, that means there's something wrong with the code, and it's not running anything at all. And that's usually what happens with Storyline. If there's something wrong with the JavaScript code where something's not correct in there or it's missing something, it just doesn't run. All right. And so now that we've checked everything's running, let's go and close this and let's fix that right there and push OK. All right. So now we want a way to unlock practice one. So I am going to create a button that when it's clicked, we unlock practice one. All right. And the same as before, I'm going to create a reference for that variable. Actually, no, there's no reference here because it's just a true and false one. So what we're going to do is we're creating a button to unlock the practice one. So now we need to create a trigger to execute the JavaScript when the user clicks on rectangle 2. And now let's go back to the Visual Studio Code. And this is the code to unlock the menu items. So we need to change the slides to unlock. And I want practice 1. And again, if you want to unlock more than one item, you can add them here the same way as you did before. The example is right there as well. Just make sure you name it correctly and all the spaces are correct. And that's it basically for this. So we're going to copy that, paste it into here, and push OK. Now let's go ahead and preview it. All right, so practice 1 is locked. We can go through the other slides, no problem. And when I press practice 1 unlocked, that should unlock right there. And there it goes. Now I can go to practice 1, no problem. And if you go to inspect, it also shows when the output for when the button is pressed that's inside the JavaScript code. All right. Now we need to set conditions for when practice 2 is unlocked. And when I want that to happen, or in this tutorial, I want that to happen when practice 1 is passed, which is, like a quiz or something, and slide 3 is viewed. So to do that, we need to set up some more variables. I'm going to put, name it practice 1 passed, and I will do a true or false type, and then leave the value to false. Now another variable called slide 03 viewed, and I will do a true false with a value of false. Okay, so I'm going to create another button here. When that it's pressed, it will change the value. Actually, let me put on passed here. And when it's pressed, we want to adjust a variable to practice 1 passed to true when the user clicks. And for the slide 3, I wanted to adjust a variable when slide 3 is viewed to true when the timeline starts on this one. All right. And again, as same as before, I want to insert some references to those variables. That way I know they're working correctly. So this is false for slide viewed. And same thing here. Oops. I like to reference that to right here. Okay. All right. So now they both get changed. Let's just make sure we have it. I like to test and debug as I go along to make sure that things are working correctly. That way, you're not 10 steps into what you're trying to do and find out that nothing's working the way it should. All right. So slide 1, slide 2, you can go through all of that. Oh, wait, and we go to slide 3. Now slide 3 is viewed, so it's true. Practice 1 unlocked. Let's go ahead and unlock that. It's unlocked again. And practice 1 passed. We want to click this to pass it, and it's true. Okay, so all that is working correctly. Now we need to, on the slides that are going to change the variables and execute the code, we want to copy the JavaScript on those slides. So we are going to execute the JavaScript when a variable changes. We want when the practice 1 passed, because we're on the practice 1 slide, and we're going to set the conditions if practice 1 is true and slide 3 viewed is true. So we press OK, and we're going to go back to the Visual Studio Code here, copy all this, which actually we just need to change this right here. Practice changes to practice 2. Copy that and paste it here, push OK. And now we're going to copy this trigger and put it on the slide 3, because that's the next one that where the variable changes, and we want to kind of trigger this JavaScript when that variable changes if the conditions are met. So instead of practice 1, we do slide 3 view changed. All right, so let's go ahead and do a test. Now lock applied is true. Okay, we can't access practice 1 or practice 2, but we can definitely go around. So slide 3 is viewed, which is true now. Now we need to pass practice 1. So we unlock practice 1, go there, do a test, and we passed it. So it's true. Now practice 2 is unlocked. All right, let's try that again in more kind of a linear flow. Make sure everything works right. When you when you want to test it again, don't press the replay, because sometimes it doesn't adjust the variables. It'll keep them the way they were before, so things will act kind of a little wonky. All right, so slide 1, slide 2, we unlock practice 1. Okay, practice 1 is passed. We passed this now. We go to slide 3. Slide 3 is viewed, and practice 2 is now accessible. All right, so that works. Let's see, not bad. All right, so for the next part where we do custom icons, it's basically the same setup. We don't have to change anything except for the JavaScript. But before we do that, I do want to download the images, and I'll show you how to do where I downloaded mine. So if you go to, just do it from the beginning, Google Fonts, go to Browse Google here and go to Icons. I will do a search for lock. Right here, locked right here, and I want the lock icon to kind of be more visible, and the lock icon, I want it to be a bright red. All right, so I'm going to download it as an SVG. You can download it as a PNG if you want, but I like SVG, so I'm going to download it, and then I'm going to look for the lock open one, change that to green, and download that. Okay. So once you downloaded the locked items, it's going to download with some weird name, a very long one. So you want to rename it something short and something like easy to remember. So I rename mine lock closed and lock open. So back to Storyline, we need a way for Storyline to keep those files within the directory of wherever you publish it. So the easiest way to do that is add a trigger that will open the URL and the file, and then we go to navigate to those files. First, we can do the lock closed, and then do this when user clicks, and just leave this blank. Press OK, because we don't want to actually have them download those files. And then we're just going to copy this and change this one to locked open. All right. So what this does is it saves it to a certain directory within the temporary files or the published files that where you create it, also to Rise, so that way you can always see it basically when you preview it. Now let's go to the Visual Studio Code and go over the code that we're going to use. So this one is the locking the menu items with a custom icon. It's basically the same thing. It goes out to the player, it creates a lock applied from the lock applied variable that's already existing in the course. The only difference is right here where it says lock solid SVG. You want to rename it to what you renamed the closed lock that you're going to be using, SVG, I believe, right? And everything else will be the same. The slide titles are right here. You can add as many as you need to. Let's go and copy this. Oh, wait, actually, I need to name this to practice one. And remember, adding multiple items, you want to add a comma and then quotation marks. And I'm going to copy it and then open that JavaScript we ran earlier. I'm going to paste it over that and then push OK. So from here, we can just preview it. And there you go. It's got custom icons here. Now, if you're missing the icon here, what might have happened is you might have renamed the file incorrectly. So just go back to it. If it's still behaving this way, like if it's locked and you can't click on it, but the item is or the image is missing, then check the file name. Make sure you named it correctly. Okay, now the next part where we need to change this one, where we need to unlock the items using a custom icon. So let's go to that code, which is over here, unlocking menu item with custom icon. Now we need to add the name of the item we want to unlock. This one's practice one. And I believe this is correct, lock open.svg. I'm going to copy this. Nothing else changes. Oh, one thing I wanted to note. Now you can unlock the item and change the icon if you want to something different. Like I wanted to change it to an open lock with green coloring, or you can completely remove it by deleting the 2 backslashes here and disabling the top one, and this will completely remove the icon. That way it's just looks like the rest of the menu items. But I'm going to change it. So copy this again and change this JavaScript. Okay, practice one, and I'll push OK, and I'm going to test this. Okay, icons are changed. I go to slide 2 and unlock practice one, and there you go. It's got a green icon now. All right, let's do the second one now. All right, so for this one, we are going to paste over that, but remember we need to change the practice 2. Copy this right here, and then this one over here. Oops. And let's make sure it works. All right, so slide 1, slide 2, we want to unlock this, change practice 1. Now let's go to slide 3, and it's viewed, but we didn't pass practice 1, so let's go ahead and pass practice 1, and there we go. Practice 2 is right there. And that's how you change the menu items from to being locked with the custom icon. Now I did want to show you something real quick. Let me publish something real quick, and let's go here and here. All right. So remember how I said that we need to store the items in the directories wherever you publish this file. So what happens when you use that open URL or attach external files on your computer and place them in a Storyline either through the resources tab or through the method we used? What that does is Storyline actually copies that and puts it into a directory wherever you publish it, because the users can't access the files from from wherever they're using it if you post it online or if you send the file to them. It has to store it locally wherever it's published. So Storyline adds the items whenever it's published to stored content, external files, and it saves a copy of those files there. And you can reference this using JavaScript or other methods, however you want to use it. But it's just a little kind of like little tip or fact that might be interesting to you. So that's it for this tutorial. If you have any questions or want to ask anything about what I've showed you or demonstrated in this tutorial, please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to help you out as soon as I can.